Gentleman from California is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, let me welcome and thank the witnesses for being here today. If I can, I'd like to ask each and every one of you a yes or no question. Mr. Alford, are you for corruption?
No, I'm not.
Mr. Auer, are you for corruption? No. Mr. Portuez?
No.
Mr. Zingham?
No.
And I want to also distinguish between antitrust and overregulation, European style. I think European overregulation, there's really only one winner. That's the Chinese economy. There are some in the US who have embraced the European Union philosophy of big is bad, irrespective of the consequences. I want folks to remember two proposed mergers, Spirit Airlines and iRobot. Both of those mergers were opposed. They didn't happen. I consider them both self-inflicted wounds. Today, instead of Amazon, a Chinese rival robot company took over iRobot. I'm from California, the 5th largest economy in the world today. These big firms we're talking about are mostly California firms. They are our biggest taxpayers in California that support our social programs, support education, create millions of jobs in California, and are responsible for innovation, Silicon Valley, and in most other places in the state of California. But I believe the European approach puts a big target on the backs of these firms, American companies. Problem today is not only are US firms being threatened by European regulation, other self-inflicted wounds is what we're doing to them here in the US. Crushing tariffs, slashing research funding, zeroing out research funding at our universities, and of course, our new immigration policies that have essentially stopped the immigration of the world's best and brightest to America. Mr. Auer, I'm going to start out with you if I can, with the little time I have. Explain to me the concept of U.S. gatekeepers. What is that?
So under the DMA, the European...
European regulation?
Yes, under the European Digital Markets Act, the European Commission has the power to designate as gatekeepers, essentially companies that have very large revenue and a very large...
And those are companies that have been designated from all over the world that are U.S. Are gatekeepers?
It is essentially the U.S. tech companies.
U.S. tech companies. When they go after U.S. firms, when Europeans go after U.S. firms, those penalties, are those based on fines or revenues of Europe or the whole company worldwide revenues?
For competition, it's based on their European revenue with a cap being set based on their global revenue. Under the DMA, it's not yet clear.
You talked about your children's future. What did you mean by that?
Europe's overregulation, there is mounting evidence that Europe's overregulation is causing huge harm to its economy. For the GDPR, for instance, the evidence is clear. I am worried that Europe, if no one pushes Europe in the right direction, will continue down this path, and it's the path to poverty.
So, saying goes that U.S. innovates, Europe regulates, and the Chinese emulate. Close your eyes and think about what the world is going to look like in 5 to 10 years if we go down the European approach.
I think it's a very scary thought. If you're in Europe and you see, on the one hand, you're falling behind the technological frontier compared to US, antagonist jurisdictions like China are
my concern is that we're looking at antitrust, we're looking at competition with a lens of maybe 10 to 15 years ago. Today, the competition is not only American firms, but it's international competition as well. AI and other areas of high tech. Competition is fierce. Investment is tremendous. European have fallen behind. American firms are leading the way. The Chinese firms are right with us. What is the significance of winning these high-tech competitions to the American economy, to the American worker, to the American taxpayer. Mr. Portuez? Mr. Hitzingham, you had something to say?
In terms of the cost to the US person, the average American family, of the interpretation of antitrust policy in these countries and the regulations that come out of the competition world. They're competition-derived regulation, if you like. It's about, and they're always classed as fair competition. You know, our Correa study alone says 525 billion over 10 years to the US economy. These are very significant numbers.
So we're essentially losing a long-term economic loss, job loss.
Job loss, loss of money in the affordability crisis, but as Mr. Auer said, the European economy and the countries that do this are the ones that lose, you know, arguably the most. Our Growth Commission report...
I'm really more focused on the California, U.S. jobs than I am on the Europeans. But thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm out of time. Appreciate your indulgence.